California, the Golden State, was home for most of my life. It's probably called the Golden State for a number of reasons, not the least of which was the gold rush, which started on January 24, 1848. James Wilson Marshall was not on a gold-hunting expedition that icy Monday morning. He and his crew were building a sawmill. Early that day, as Marshall inspected the site, he saw flakes of raw yellow embedded in the smooth granite bedrock. Once word about his discovery got out, people swarmed to California with the hope of getting rich overnight. The infamous gold rush was on. The part of this story most people forget is the large number of people whose expectations were dashed when they found nothing, or worse, when they discovered iron pyrite, or fool's gold, a naturally occurring mineral that is often mistaken for gold. Many fools thought they struck it rich in that rush, only to find out that their gold was actually worthless. In many ways, we have another gold rush today. This time the gold we hunt for is mature teens. By this I mean young people who are mature for their age, kids who experience authentic maturity, growing up not merely in one facet of their lives, but also physically, emotionally, intellectually, socially, and spiritually. This is what parents hope for in their kids. It's what teachers dream of in their students. It's what coaches look for in their athletes. It's what employers need in their young team members. That maturity is what we saw in many young people 100 years ago, but, alas, it is rare today. Something in our culture has shifted. Educators and social scientists are mourning today's generation of kids who have postponed growing up. They lament students' delayed entrance into adulthood. Adolescence, in fact, has been prolonged among millions of teens and young adults. I've lost count of the number of university deans who've told me 26 is the new 18. In a nationwide survey, young adults agree. When asked what marks the beginning of adult responsibility, their number one response was, having my first child. Interesting. The average age that Americans have their first child is 27 and a half years old. The MacArthur Foundation suggests that adolescence doesn't end until age 34. Employers, coaches, teachers, and parents are hunting for an elusive maturity that frankly is hard to find, and what's scarce is valuable. No doubt about it. There's a rush on. Although authentic maturity is increasingly rare among young people, it does exist. When I find it, I feel like I found a precious metal. Much more prevalent, however, is an artificial maturity, brought about by a perfect storm of elements in our culture today. You might call it a new kind of fool's gold, and it has a far more devastating impact than the disappointment that followed the detection of the original fool's gold centuries ago. Allow me to describe a common scenario. An 8-year-old impresses his parents because he's known his multiplication tables for over a year, and he can download the latest software on his tablet computer. Adults marvel at this little guy. He certainly is mature for his age, isn't he? Folks remark. Maybe, maybe not. The fact is, he has been exposed to data at a very young age, far earlier than in past generations, thanks to the Internet. Consequently, the 8-year-old is cognitively advanced, but may not be as developed in, for example, his emotional maturity. In fact, because of the external stimulation of a screen, his growth may be underdeveloped in other areas of his life. His maturity is both advanced and delayed. We fail to recognize the difference too often, mistaking one form of advanced development for overall maturity. That same child, at 16 years old, may not be able to look an adult in the eye and have a mature conversation. The fool's gold suddenly becomes painfully evident.